in Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin. That's where I was born. And I always thought it was just a house, but it was actually a hospital, just up the street. I don't know, maybe my dad carried me from the house up to the hospital, who knows. But that's where I was born. And I had the same doctor from when I was born until after we were married. Oh, I never had anything wrong. I always said I was perfect, but there aren't many people that believe that, you know. My dad was a foreman in the foundry at James Manufacturing Company until I was just starting high school, and they made him vice president. So then he had an office job. And my mother, she stayed home. I always said I was going to be like my mother and do nothing, stay home. I don't remember the Depression at all. That we've talked about that, and it made no difference in a small town. Really, you know. James has made some kind of bullet casings. I knew that, but you know, it wasn't that big a deal. Everything was family oriented. I had no brothers or sisters, and family would go around and visit each other, you know, at night once in a while, and they never called first. And we had one of those old telephones. It wasn't a dial. Oh, we picked it up. Hello, Mert, you know. But, oh, I remember my dad built a house right away. I don't remember him building it, of course. But I lived in that house until I graduated. I was living there. I graduated from high school. And then my folks decided they wanted to move, well, out in the country. But it really wasn't out in the country, you know. But so that was it. A kids group, youth group, yeah. We went on toboggan trips and we had fun things together. But then a lot of the people were farmers, you know, so they didn't have time for fun. They were busy working on, it was just a little church. We met in the community building. We didn't even have a church. And Saturday night we listened to the WLS barn dance with Lola and Scotty. Oh gosh. My mother would make a big pan of popcorn and we would put that on the floor. We had floor registers like that, and we'd put that big pan of popcorn on that register, and the radio was right next to it. So then my mother sat, my dad and me, and we'd listen to the WLS barn dance, unless there was something going on at school or something. Yeah, we had some good memories. Oh yeah, I learned to do all the circle two steps, and I don't know what they all are called now. I look at the dancing now on TV and I think, oh my God. That's not dancing. But we did. We went to a lot of farm dances. And all the family weddings were like a barn dance afterward. Yeah, we went to movies. And I danced. And roller skated and loved to roller skate. I can remember my mother belonged to a bridge club. And this is way back when I was 2 years old, but I remember it. And just before the women came, I wet my pants. And there was no such thing as rubber diapers or anything, you know. And my mother was so mad at me, she made me stand over that register in the living room, straddling it, while they were there playing cards. And I remember that so plain. I wasn't like my kid. When I punished him once, he couldn't wait for his father to get home. Do you know what she did to me? She. I went to the Frieden's Evangelical Lutheran Church, and it was very liturgical. You know, you could sleep and wake up in time when you had to stand up, or sit down or repeat the Apostles' Creed, or, you know, otherwise you could sleep. So it was very boring, but it was church, you know, and everybody in town went to church. Except those terrible people that ran the bowling alley. And there were 3 or 4 taverns in town, and of course a lot of them outside of town. When I was in confirmation class at 12 years old, we all had to take confirmation. And while I was in that class, I had about 2 weeks left to go, and my parents were saved at a Pentecostal campground. And so my parents absolutely would not go back to the Lutheran church again. And then they tried to reason with the pastor, and no, this was the way he was raised and trained, and so that was it, you know. But it all worked out good. Then I went to camp, and I got saved at camp, at the Camp Byron. I was trying to think of the name of it, in Oregon, Wisconsin. And it was a Pentecostal camp, so there was a lot of hooting and hollering, but I enjoyed it. Although the town was the kind of town that once it got dark, it rolled up at night, you know. So as far as what goes on nowadays, we didn't have any of that problem. The only trouble we had was on Cabbage Night. It was the night before Halloween. And there were rowdy kids that would go around and make a mess of people's gardens if they still had stuff. So one time my dad hooked up a wash tub. That's when the women still had wringer washers. He hooked up a wash tub and a clothesline across right where that wash tub was, because that's where the kids ran from our backyard to the neighbors. Well, after he had practically drowned a couple of them, why, he didn't do it anymore, because they all fell in the wash tubs. My dad loved that. Oh, gosh. Well, he was 75 when he retired. So he was there probably 10, 15 years. Was it more than that? Yeah, that's true. Because I remember they went on strike, and I went to high school across town, walked it 4 times a day, thought nothing of it. Stopped after school at night and danced and had a good time. I went home. Never learned how to cook. Poor guy, he got the world's worst cook when he married me. But, oh, the company was on strike, and they had 2 buildings. One was out Janesville Avenue, which was, at that time, was out in the country, and then the other one was in town on Milwaukee Avenue. Sometimes I could take Milwaukee Avenue and take the bridge home, which was a shortcut, but it was more fun going through town, you know, a long ways. And all my friends had to go through town, so. And as we were walking up Milwaukee Avenue, I heard one of the men at the office, one of the strikers there, there's Bill Belsner's daughter. I started running. I ran all the way home because I was afraid they were going to kill me. Yeah. So I guess there was some upheaval at that time, but I was too busy to be bothered. One year, my aunt decided she was going to have Christmas for the whole family, but we were snowed in. The roads weren't open, you know, for cars or anything. So my uncle came with the cutter. It's a big sleigh, and he picked us all up on the sleigh at the main road, and then we rode from there to the farm on the sleigh. Well, I don't know, for some reason or other, my uncle had to stop once, so my dad was going to change his position on the sleigh, but my uncle started the sleigh up too soon, and my dad went whipping off the back of that sleigh into a snowdrift. We had a lot of fun with that, but we did. We had a lot of fun, a lot of family. Well, people were family-oriented then, you know. Where now they've got TVs and DVDs and BVDs and all kinds of Ds. So, well, I was active in high school and active in college in extracurricular. Studies weren't my favorite thing, you know. In fact, I was going to go to Wheaton College, and at that time it seemed Wheaton was so expensive. If you didn't have 14 Angora sweaters, you were nobody, you know, you didn't go to Wheaton. So I didn't go to Wheaton. So I went to Milton. Took all the wrong classes, you know, did everything wrong. Was a cheerleader, drum majorette. I wasn't a cheerleader in high school, no, just a majorette. In fact, Harriet and I, my friend, we were called drum majors because we controlled the band. Whatever they played or wherever they marched or whatever they did, we controlled it. Poor old, the doctor, he just walked alongside of the band in all the parades.
Did you have one of those power sticks when you walked?
Mm-hmm. Not like fans like this.
Oh, sorry.
I get nervous when I see a parade and I see these girls. I think, oh, deliver me.
Here.
Yeah, I had
How do you do it?
What?
How do you do it?
Oh, you bring it forward and up and then down, and up and down, not just, you know, like an old farmer. That wasn't on, was it? Gee. Well, as you can see, city girls headed against old farmers. Well, the school I went to was a Seventh-day Baptist, Milton. Had a lot of fun. Didn't learn anything. Wasted my dad's money. So then I got a job that summer working for a company that had bought up a company in Fort Atkinson called Creamery Package. And I started working for them, and they put me on the payroll department. So it was a good job, made good money, bought nice clothes. That's all I ever did. And then I met him at church. I was 21. He was a little younger, so we had to take his mother to the courthouse with us so she could verify that it was all right for him to get married. Well, he was a good-looking, blonde, curly-haired, big guy, and all the girls in Fort High School, he was still in school, and all the girls were after him, so I thought, well, I'll take my turn. But I had the advantage of church. He said I was ready, and I chased him until he quit. The clerk was a friend of mine from work, and she thought, good, she's going to get back at me. So very loudly, she announced over the courthouse, "This boy is not of age. Is there anybody here to verify for him?" Oh, I could have killed her right there. Could have killed her. But that small town, you know, it was only 6,000 people. Well, we really couldn't go on a honeymoon because the corn needed cultivating. So we were going to wait a week, and then we were going to go to Washington Island. His grandparents owned a home on Lake Michigan, so we were going to go up there. So we did that, and my folks went along. Not many people take their in-laws on a honeymoon. I counted up one day, and we lived in 14 different places throughout our marriage. So this would be 15.
Are you tired?
Yeah, it's hard to talk.
Take a break.
Yeah, you mean there's more? It was a good life.